Hey, my legion, how y'all doing today? Uh, Originally plans were I was supposed to hang out with my buddy tonight, and then he had to cancel. He had some problems at home, and they had a new SNL with Jason Momoa hosting, and Jason Momoa, of course, is going to be in the new Aquaman movie coming out in a week or two. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge, and he hosted Silent Live, and here's my thoughts on it. First of all, I always take notes and stuff because I remember I used to doing it by memory, and I'd always forget something, but now I take notes. So I have, I know what I'm doing. First, start off with a cold opening, and it was like Don Jr. and Eric Trump, or the guys playing him. And they're trying to do Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. And it wasn't funny. And then Robert De Niro showed up as a cameo as Robert Mueller. And then it just didn't have... Donald Trump Jr. left. And then him and Eric were just talking. And they didn't have an ending for it. And all of a sudden, live from New York, it didn't have an ending. It didn't have a proper ending. So that was lame. It didn't go anywhere. Robert De Niro was on it, but he was only all right. Give that a mild 4 out of 10. Next was a monologue, and the monologue was decent. Jason Momoa came out, and he was talking how excited he was to be on the show, and then they had like like a thing of Parliament Funkadelic and on there doing a song Aquaman Boogie or something like that, and it was catchy and stuff like that. And then they had him singing, kind of, and it was all right. It was okay. I give that a 5 out of 10. Next, they had Elf on the Shelf, and Elf on the Shelf was actually pretty funny. And for the longest time, I started hearing about Elf on the Shelf, and I never knew what the hell it was. I asked people, I said, I don't know. And I know what it is now, but they gave a good description of what it was. And they had, Santa, and they had, 3 little elves, and they were talking, a weird chipmunk-type voice. And Jason Momoa's character, he said, his kid, he asked if he have a new kid. And he said, you've been his Elf on the Shelf for 13 years. I said, I know. And he's having body awareness issues, pleasuring himself and stuff like that. It was pretty funny. It wasn't the funniest thing, but it was funny enough to give it an 8 out of 10. It was all right. That was one of the bad things. Next was Big Boy Appliances from GE. I like the way it started out with the old-fashioned 50s type thing. I thought they were going to go that route, and then they said, well, Mom, now Mom's not like that, or, showing the mom cleaning the house, or the woman in the house cleaning. And they said, now Mom's not, she's like a corporate woman, but what's Dad? Dad's going to be cleaning now? And they had, Big Boy Appliances, and they had, a dishwasher with, a 70-pound door, and they show him closing, or, a washer that's 6 feet tall, or a riding vacuum cleaner, like a riding mower, but it was a vacuum cleaner. It wasn't that funny, but it was neat for prop humor, and it was okay for that. I give that a 6 out of 10. It was all right. Next was the public access thing from Game of Thrones, and that was really dumb. Like I said, Jason Momoa is, he's on the show Game of Thrones. And he was in, and then it ended, some of these things don't have endings at all. It just, this one didn't have an ending at all. And then, they had, a thing, a Jerry Spring type thing. And it was really lame. And then they were waiting for, there was a big pause. They were waiting for Jason Momoa to say his one line, and he said it. And then, it just ended. It was terrible. That was a 2.5 out of 10. Next, when they had a spoof of the show Empire, but they did them Trumps. The Trumps were black. It was Darius Trump, and it was okay. And not enough to really recommend it. I give that a mild 4.5 out of 10. Next was Mumford and Sons. Now the thing with them is, I never knew who they were for the longest time. And I used to watch reality shows. I don't really watch reality shows much anymore, but I mean, like the shows that, like, they had that one show, Auction Hunters, on, I remember Spike had a couple shows, Auction Hunters and then, Thrift Hunters or whatever it was. That I used to watch. I don't watch that anymore. I don't even know if it's on anymore. True TV used to have a bunch of shows. I know History Channel used to have, well, they still have, like, I don't watch, American Pickers or Pawn Stars. I just lost interest. And A&E had Storage Wars for a while, and then it had Shipping Wars. And on Shipping Wars, they had, like, this one guy, kind of nerdy guy, and he said, like, he was talking about Mumford and Sons. First time I ever heard of him was, who's Mumford and Sons? Never heard of him before. And I saw him a little bit. I said, I know I'm not going to like these guys. And I heard a little bit of them, and they just bore the hell out of me. They bore the absolute hell out of me. I don't like them at all. Their set was boring. Their song was boring. Yeah, I give it a 1.5 out of 10. Next was Weekend Update. Weekend Update was okay. There was a couple of funny jokes, and then they had something where Michael Che decided to, they have like these weird characters that come on the show and do like some skit, and then he decided to talk about bidets, and that didn't really have an ending either, and they just kind of ended it. It was lame, and he even said like Leslie Jones can do a better job at this, and they should have just had her on there. Weekend Update for a couple of funny jokes, but they didn't have enough. That was a 5.5 out of 10. Next was A Christmas Carol. And right at the end, whenever Scrooge got visited by the three ghosts, like he's a changed man, and all of a sudden Jason Momoa came in, where his character is like a flamboyant type thing, like a male stripper type. And that was just for the ladies, I think. It wasn't funny at all, but they had like the Cratchits come in. I thought Kate McKinnon did a really good job as Tiny Tim. I thought that was really great. Next was Day of the Dorks. Day of the Dorks was really funny. Of course, it was like because back in the 80s, like Sex Town, they have like that, and they have ripoffs of shows like Revenge of the Nerds was a big hit. And Jason Momoa played the ogre character named Beef in this one. And it was really funny. He was like getting mad and like breaking their own stuff. And he said, you need to calm down. They took him out of, he said they were talking about some way to get rid of the dorks. Even that didn't have a real ending to it. It's like they had an idea, and they wrote it, and they just didn't put an ending on it. Now, Monty Python's famous for that, but SNL, especially that, they ain't no Monty Python. Monty Python's brilliant. This was just lazy writing. Next was Mumford Sons again, and like I said, I didn't care for it, and like when the song ended, the audience started to kind of applaud. They didn't know if the song was really over with, and they kind of applauded, and then they kind of like half-assed an ending to the song, and then the audience finally applauds. That was terrible. That was a 1.5 out of 10. Next was Sleigh Rides, and they were doing like that reoccurring character, like the obnoxious guy with them. It was only okay. It wasn't funny enough. The only thing that was really cool was when Jason Momoa, he jumped off the sleigh, and there was a really cool effect of the snow shooting up. That was the best part of the whole thing. But aside from that, it was just lazy writing. It was a 3 out of 10. Next was First Impression. In this, what this was they had, like this guy was nervous about meeting his girl's parents. And they came over, and the father was Jason Momoa in really good makeup, made him look a little older. And then, when he came in and goes, "Oh, you can't find me," or something like that, for whatever, out of character. And then Jason Momoa was like looking, like destroying the whole house. And all of a sudden they had a reveal, and then it stopped being funny. And it was just weird. And it didn't make any sense. And then it didn't have an ending. It just kind of just, whoop, that's it. Season Green, Saturday Night Live, that was it. And finally they had Rudolph's Big Night. Now, this is a take on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer about the whole bullying thing. Now, I know where they got the idea from this. And Pete Davidson, with Pete Davidson too, they were saying like shows like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is no longer politically correct because they showed bullying in it. So obviously they took on that, and then they were talking about Pete Davidson, people really being harsh on him on Twitter and stuff like that. with bullying and stuff, and they were showing like he was bullied, and then Santa said they need him for to ride in front, and he's like, "Oh, who's the man now?" And he was mad. He got back to talking stuff to the other reindeer, and he would like pretend he got beat up and stuff, and then Santa shot one of the reindeers. That was kind of funny. That was all right. That was a 6.5 out of 10. But I know where they got the idea for that is. But a lot of times they just didn't have endings for these skits. And then, I mean, they went like over. Whenever that skit ended, it was like 1 o'clock. And then when it came back, it was like 101, 102. They had Jason Momoa say, "I'm really glad to be to have been on the show. It was a great experience." And he was talking about his wife and kids. And then they cut it off. That was a proper ending. That was a proper ending of the show. And then they cut that off because they ran over. Overall, I think Jason Momoa did a great job, but he wasn't given anything really that good to do. Claire Foy, when she was on last week, they gave us some really good stuff, and they had some really funny stuff. Like that skit from World War I was hilarious. I mean, they had a couple of funny jokes in it, but I mean, they didn't give him really anything that good to do. I mean, he was great, and he was up for it. I mean, when they showed him, I had really high hopes whenever Howie Cat showed me that video of him introduced Silent Night. They had 3 takes. It was like him with Leslie Jones, and they had Mumford Sons on both sides, and then the last thing when they're like rah, rah, like that, and then he went right, and then he ran off the set, really high energy, and then Mumford Sons like and they half-assed it because they're low energy, or they act like they were above that stuff. I mean, I'm not into Mumford Sons at all. Jason Momoa did a great job, but they didn't give him anything good to do. They really didn't. I give this Saturday Night Live a 5 out of 10. It was a lame one. Especially how good the Claire Foy one was. This one wasn't very good at all. But, I mean, like I said, 5 out of 10. Very disappointing. Not Jason Momoa's fault at all. He was game for doing a bunch of great stuff, and they just didn't give him anything really, really good to do. Except for like Ogre and stuff, but like I said, they didn't have proper endings to the skits. They just kind of like ended it. They were just lazy. They had ideas, and they didn't really follow through that much. I'm gonna see if did I miss anything? I don't think I did. Let's see. Nope. Yeah, that's what's a good thing about taking notes on this, because like I said, when I did it before, I was just trying to remember from memory, and then I'd always miss something, but now I got it all down. Well, like I said, it was a very disappointing Silent Live. Jason Momoa did a great job, but he wasn't given anything to do, really. He was funny in parts, but it's on them for that. So I hope you like this review of Jason Mamoa Hosts SNL. This just premiered on NBC. Until next time, everybody, please, take care of my legion. And game.